Hey everyone, Duncan here. This video will be the first of many design videos we share about Fractured Conquest. Conquest is a persistent, faction-based online warfare game with mobile top-down combat. This is a game where your choices matter, not just moment to moment in combat, but at a faction level. How you play affects the territory control, warfare, the economy, logistics, and long-term war momentum. We're designing Conquest to support multiple playstyles. You could focus on things like frontline combat, support and healing, battlefield control, skirmishing and mobility, defensive or siege-oriented roles, economy and logistics, hybrid builds that trade raw power for flexibility. So there's a lot of ways to play. And none of that is locked behind a single rigid decision. Your build is made up of 3 core pieces: Archetype, weapons, and armor. There are other things to augment it in more granular detail, but we'll cover that in another video. The archetype, though, defines your core mechanics and abilities. The weapon defines how you fight and those abilities. Armor defines the survivability, bonuses, and role emphasis. But you choose the archetype from a list of 12 when you deploy initially, and each time you respawn after death. Then if your faction has a weapon and armor supplies where you spawn, you could decide what your primary and secondary weapon are, grab an armor type, and those archetypes can feel different depending on the armor and weapons that you choose to pair it with. Speaking of the supplies though, these are all player made through deep, rich gathering, processing, and crafting systems that we'll cover in another video though. Fractured Conquest is built around 3 distinct factions. Each faction has its own identity, themes, and long-term goals. Those identities also influence which archetypes exist in that faction and how they express power or control. You're choosing a side in a living conflict, and that does change your options. We have a separate video on those 3 factions, their lore, and what drives them to war. There are 12 total archetypes in the game at the moment. Some of those are base archetypes available across factions. Others are faction-specific, unique expressions of that faction's philosophy and warfare style. This does let us keep the system readable and balanced while we still give factions that identity, that really strong identity. An archetype includes an innate ability, 2 active abilities, and stats to support that playstyle. Now, I do want to go ahead and reveal the first archetype, the vanguard. These are frontline warriors who forge ahead into the thick of fighting, and they stand their ground as an immovable force. This archetype is not faction locked though, so all factions are able to choose from this. The vanguard's innate ability is called Bastion. This particular mechanic will be core to the vanguard's playstyle, but the abilities themselves may change a bit. So Bastion surrounds the vanguard in an ether energy barrier that absorbs damage. The barrier is restored as the vanguard strikes enemies with their empowered weaponry. The first active ability is Shield Burst. By overcharging the Bastion, it turns the remaining shield energy into a powerful explosive stun. The second ability, Ether Vent. By venting the Bastion's ether, it sacrifices its shield to cleanse and heal the vanguard. But these archetypes can and likely will change with the community testing. Though their core mechanics, we do want to keep the same, as it really ties into not just the lore of the game, but also the faction, what their progression and lore looks like. This is just the beginning though, and we look forward to sharing the other 11 archetypes, the weapons and their abilities, and all of those details in the coming weeks. So join us on Discord, provide feedback. The link will be in the video description below. And yeah, we're building Conquest with you. So as these tests happen, and as we get feedback and we get the feel of these different roles, we will change those to make a better experience. But we need you and your feedback to do that. So thank you.